Okay.
if he's interested. Let him look at it. And the one that I have is a metal one from AMD, but then the one that's on there now is a fiberglass one.
We'll watch that
Okay.
movie a little bit.
Yeah,
So
I don't. He's not. So I couldn't say he would or wouldn't. He's not. He's not so big in Flash. He's like, oh, whatever. If I get it, I get it. If it comes with it, whatever. But I'll talk to him. He might be interested.
yeah,
I mean,
let me
I
know.
might. I might be interested in talking him into it.
Yeah, yeah. I'll have everyone on the screen sign it. Wish him good luck. We have to ship it to everyone's house.
Yeah.
That'd be a hell of a.
Just throw it in a truck when you go to Bowling Green, and everybody will meet in Bowling Green and sign it there.
Bowling Green is about come on down. Yeah.
Yeah.
The more people I
Yeah.
get on, the worse it gets.
Yeah, that's a.
Jim, before you leave, I just want to show you because we talked last week, but there's the 64 Vista Cruiser.
Ooh,
Oh yeah.
nice.
This
I
the
like
cruiser.
that.
Yeah, they had it in the two colors: the blue mist, and then like a green. The green's kind of hard to see in the package.
I can see it. Yeah, I can see the green.
You see it? Yeah, it's nice.
Where'd you find those?
These were at Target. This is the newest release from Johnny Lightning, but the 64 Vista Cruiser with the 330. Is that what they said it had?
Okay.
330 V8, 64 Vista Cruiser, 290 horsepower, 355 foot-pounds of torque.
That's the aluminum V8.
I like when I see those wagons like hooked up like where the front end looks like a either Chevelle SS or GTO or either a Oldsmobile, Hearst Olds, where they take the front fascia, put the hood and all that. I like looking at the wagons, those 8-body wagons when they dress them up.
Well,
Yeah,
some
why
came
not?
like that.
You can get an SS wagon, like a 70 SS wagon.
Yeah.
Really, I did not know that was an
Yeah.
option.
Mhm.
I wonder if you can get it with a stick.
It's
I
funny
went
you
to
say.
school with a guy. I went to school with an LTD wagon, and it had a 4-speed in it. We called him the Wagon Master. That was his nickname in school, and he had that big old LTD swinging a lot with a 4-speed in it.
It came like that from the factory.
I'm pretty sure it did.
That
Back
one
then,
Tom-
we weren't very smart. Like today, Gary.
No, the one Tom Cotter had was a V8. It was a I think was it a 390 or a 428? I think it was a 394 speed with power windows, had bucket seats and a console.
Yeah, but some of those wagons, Ford had the 4-wheel drive on those wagons.
Oh, I didn't know that.
This was
Yes.
an older. This was like an old. I want to say it was a 72.
Yeah, like the 72 with the big front grill. Yeah,
Yeah,
some of
and
them-
it was. I think he had it. It was white. It was white, and he had Steelies on it that had the dog caps on. It looked like a police car.
Mm.
You know, it had it was just plain Jane on the outside, but it was. I want to say it was a 4. I think it was a 428, and it had a 4-speed.
Bench seat or no? You said buckets.
Well, I don't know what I can't remember what he had in the. It had, but the ugly, typical. It wasn't. It had what was it like? Baby poo brown interior with white. It was. It's always crazy. It might have been. I was either brown or a light green interior. I know it was kind of ugly, that standpoint. But we were stupid back then, man. We bought stuff and drove it. We didn't. The only guy I knew, my buddy Carl, he was the only guy I knew that he had a Pontiac Ventura, right? Is that like the Nova?
That's the Nova, yeah.
Yeah, he had a Pontiac Ventura, and I remember when he put a 4-speed in it because it had an automatic, and we all thought that he was like the god of rocket science. I mean, it was like, how in the world that he did that? But I mean, Carl was Carl. I mean, that was a buddy of mine, and he would do shit like that. He's the one that had it was just recently, but he had it was I think it's an Oldsmobile, big body Oldsmobile thing, and he put a Cummins diesel in it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's just that kind of guy. Yeah, it's crazy, but I tell you one thing, that thing flies, though, man. That thing moves.
It's funny, Brian. I almost sent you a link to a reel that I saw yesterday morning, and it was like a '67 Country Squire wagon, and the guy had the Marty report on it, and it was a 1 of 1. And when the guy ordered it, he ordered a deluxe interior, 428, 4-speed, like 390 gears or whatever in it, and they're like, and this was like a one owner. The guy had the person who had it now bought it, and it was like, yeah, this guy ordered this car and bought it and has had it all these years. And it was basically, the guy goes, yeah, he wanted a hot rod, but mama needed a car too, so he compromised. And like I said, it had a console and a 4-speed in it and all that, and it was a Country Squire wagon, and it had the wood grain on the side.
Yeah, it's funny.
What year was it?
67. If you've ever seen the Thomas Crown Affair, the original, the real one, when he pulls up in front of the bank, it looked just like that one. It's like, had the big Country Squire hubcaps and all on it. And the guy goes, this guy ordered his car, and he goes, he actually got a phone call from Ford when he ordered it and put a deposit down. They told him, he says, they might not build this because of some of the options, but he goes, about 2 or 3 weeks later, he says he got a phone call from, or I forget what they called it, the special vehicle operations or whatever. And they said, we're going to build this one, just to let you know. So, but it was, like I said, it was a Marty documented 1 of 1, 428, 4-speed Country Squire wagon.
Nice.
I definitely would have built that. I'm like, yeah, we're building this. We're building this.
That's probably what happened.
Take it to the track.
Well, see, Terry, that's what I miss about the older days, which Ray could probably give more about, and Papa Squirrel, where you could go to the dealership and pick what you wanted, instead of now it's, oh, well, this is a package.
Yep.
You want the XLT package, or you want the Lariat package, and it's like, no, I don't want this, but I want that. Well, you can't do that.
Right.
When I ordered my GT, my 89, and it was funny, well, you had to order it. You go to the dealer and you ordered it, and because it was the anniversary year, that if you ordered it between this time and that time, I don't know what the span was, you got an anniversary car, and it wasn't flashy. It wasn't like when they did the 20th anniversary with the GT 350 stuff or anything like that. But you got a medallion on the car, and you could order it. Like I said, there was on ordering. Well, I had ordered with T-tops, and so a couple weeks had gone by, and the dealership called me and said, hey, your car was kicked out. They're not going to build it. What do you want to do? And I was like, well, what do you mean they're not going to do it? Well, they're not offering T-tops in 89 because it took the cells away from the convertibles. So he said, we're not, they're not doing it. It was kicked back, and they're not going to build it with T-tops. And I was like, all right, well, I said, well, just order it without the T-tops. And he goes, okay. He goes, well, I'll put the order in. And I was like, well, I'm out of the date now, for the anniversary. That's the whole reason why I ordered the car. I would have bought one on this. He goes, oh, well, don't worry. We'll get around that. Don't worry about it. So the car was ordered. I don't know, 6-8 weeks later, I get the phone call, come get the car. And this was up at right outside in Pennsylvania, down there by the old Harley dealership. My dad knew a guy that owned a Ford dealership up there, where the Harley plant was. And so I go up there and get the car. And sure enough, it has the badge on it, the window sticker, had the anniversary thing, the whole 9 yards, you know. And I was like, oh, good, I still got that pack, you know, that deal, because not all the cars had it. Well, of course, it was so funny then because everybody bitched about it. About 4 weeks later, I get a letter and a package from Ford. They sent everybody the little emblem and everything, you know. So I still have another set laying around here, you know, because everybody wanted the anniversary thing, and so they sent out. Of course, the only thing they didn't have, and it's over on the other side, but you know, it was the window sticker that had the anniversary dates on it. So, you know, 64.
Depending on what year,
Mm-hmm.
some of those companies, or what was it? Pontiac. There was a company. My buddy had a 69 or 70 GTO.
Yes.
And there was a company who would remake the Ronies,
Mm.
and it was basically a copy of what was on it. Because one of the guys was he goes, oh, I'm trying to get him to do this, do that. And they're like, no, all they do is reprint the original Roni. They don't change, because he wanted to change it, have him put the judge package and this and that.
Oh,
And he goes,
No.
What was on the original Roni is what's going to be on there. Mark New City. I hadn't seen heard from him in years. He had a beautiful. Ray, you can tell me it looked orange to me, but they didn't call it orange.
Carousel red.
The GTO
Was Hugger orange. Yeah, it was. They called it carousel red though.
Yep.
4-speed. I mean, this was a stout piece, but
Could have been a Ram F4 car.
My dad had this Nova, and he stuck it was a automatic, and he stuck a four speed in it.
Yeah, box Nova.
I remember when he was changing it over, he had it up on jack stands, and while he was working on it, you know, he's crawling in from the one side. I was on the other side laying down playing with my Hot Wheels, watching him work. I was probably probably about 5 or 6.
Oh,
And
coach, stop. You were like 32, okay?
I know, right?
and then that's the if you can see it, that's that, what is that, A100
Van?
Dodge van?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Tell by that headlight.
Everybody wanted the seats
Ah.
Yeah.
The Ford. The
We used to
Ford control.
take that thing. My dad used it for everything, but we used to take it camping. He used it for
I did not plug it today.
if he was laying block or doing carpentry or whatever. As long as he didn't need the bed of his truck, and he just needed to throw some tools in, he'd throw them in the van and he'd take off in the van. He took that van for everything.
My grandfather had a 62 or 63 ramp side Corvair. And I'd love to try to find one of those, but every time I find one, it's either rusted into the ground and just reclaimed, or they want mint money for it.
I remember when
We
I
had
was
that
in
on
middle.
the T1 Volkswagens. The side, you're talking about the one that had the side door
Yeah.
that folded down, right?
That's why they call it a ramp side, is because it would drop down and you could just load it, and it had a regular tailgate in the back too, but you could
Yeah,
drop that ramp on the side and load it. And that's what he had on his farm.
I remember when I was in junior high, my dad would always I'd say, let's take the truck. He had a 72 GMC. And I'd say, drop me off at school in the truck. He'd always want to take the van. I hated the van. Green and white van, ugly green. I was so embarrassed of that van. If my prayers were answered that day, the light would turn red. And I'd be like, I'll jump out right here. And I'd jump out and I see some friends and I'll go. But if my prayers weren't answered that day, and I know my dad knew I was embarrassed, we would pull into the school. He, all right, love you, son. And I'm like, whatever. And I jump out. Well, he had an old Auga horn. And as he pulled off, he hit the Auga horn. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's
That's
great.
funny.
like the Fresh Prince, man. You ruined my rep.
Yeah.
You ain't got no rep.
That's too funny.
Ooga, no rep.
Killed it right there.
That's
All
what
right,
you
time
had.
for me.
get out of here.
I have
You
to
know-
go to bed. I have to
All
go
right,
to bed.
Terry.
It was
Take
a
care,
pleasure,
Terry.
all Ray, everyone.
Take care, Terry.
I'll be
All
here
right, Terry,
next
talk
week.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll talk with you guys.
Hey, I'll hit you on Messenger a picture of that truck
Please let me know. Definitely, I'd like to
For
see
sure.
that truck too. All
for
right,
sure.
I'll shoot you an OBS,
Take care.
Terry.
it's all welcome. Everyone shoot me an OBS. And don't forget, I still got your QA1 hats. I got to get those out to you guys.
Please.
Oh yeah.
You're killing me with that.
There's
shouldn't
two
even
box
brought it
right
up.
there. I know I should have brought it. I should just got that. But how could I get the addresses? And they sent it to me too. So I have no one to blame but myself. Bad Terry. Bad Terry.
Can't even get you to meet at Brown's Barbecue.
Where's that?
Brown's Barbecue.
Yeah.
South Carolina.
No, St. Joe. Or you forgot Brown's Barbecue, your hometown.
Brown's Barbecue in my hometown, Spring Valley.
Not that hometown.
Oh, down south.
Yeah.
When come time for me to go down there, I'm gonna definitely give you a call and we can meet. We'll do the barbecue. Is that when you want me to give you a hat?
That's fine.
Wait, all that time, that might be forever.
Yeah, that'd be forever.
You know what,
Yeah, you
Brian?
guys would be bald
You're
with
gonna
your
get
hair.
you're gonna get the misfit hat, Brian.
I know. Thanks, Larry.
I'm gonna give you the hat. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I ain't.
It's all right.
Good night,
All right.
gentlemen.
Take care. Be safe.
See you, Terry.
Take care, guys.
Yeah,
he
you,
was-
All right, Jim, take it easy.
See you, Jim.
you guys were saying if I wish I still had that van. Yeah, for sure. Looking back now, at the time I hated it, but yeah, looking back, I'd take it in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did that with my daughter. I had an '89 Sunbird GT convertible,
Mhm.
and it was gray and black. I mean, I thought it looked cool.
Yeah.
Obviously she was in high school. She didn't think it looked cool, but I would take her to school, and it didn't run really well, and it's just all loud and crappy. And I would drop her off at the high school. Like, see you later. Make sure. I'm like, bye, see you, bye. Make sure she knows, all her friends know that she's getting dropped off in that car. She's like, Dad, can you pick me up in a different car? I'm like, no, I like this car.
You guys had it.
Convertible.
I used to drop the girls off in the tool truck.
Well, when my older daughter she was in grade school. She wasn't even in middle school yet. I used to bring her on the back of the Harley on my Super Glide, and man, her cred went up like 9,000. Even the teachers were like, "Your dad? You come with your dad on a motorcycle?" Oh yeah, I ride with him all the time.
Yeah, we did the opposite.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
And
So-
I drive him,
Ray's a big
and then it'd
burnout
be
with
funny
that.
because it was like years later. I mean, the girls had graduated, and I don't know where I was. And some lady came up to me and she goes, "Did your daughter used to go to such and such high school?" And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "I used to see you every morning dropping her off in the tool truck." So
When my kids
You were being talked about.
yeah.
when my kids were in grade school and then middle school, we had a Nissan Pathfinder, and I had two kicker competition 12s in it, and they'd hear us, and my kids loved it. And then we didn't have the when my daughter was in high school, one of the last times I dropped her off, we didn't have the Pathfinder. I had my S10 Blazer. And she didn't really care what I dropped her off in, but we come pulling up and I'm listening to, is it Miss New Booty? That booty rocking everywhere. And I've got it turned up and I'm jamming. And she goes, we're coming up to the school and she goes, Dad, turn it down. I'm like, what? That's good music. And she goes, Dad, turn it down. Don't embarrass me. I'm like, you never get embarrassed. Like, she goes, I'm not worried about the Blazer. Just, I don't want you coming up with that, with the booty music playing. And I'm like, and if I don't turn it down, and she goes, then I'm going to get out and shake my ass when I get out the car. I'm going to embarrass you. And I said, okay, it's going down real quick.
Well, it was funny because they would have the cones up, because they had the school buses on one side, and then we had to go through a parking lot.
Truck.
And the first time I came through in the tool truck, I wiped all the cones out. I just made my own path, I followed the line, but I was like, look, dude, you got to give me a little bit more room. And for the rest of the year, we had a nice runway, man. You could land an airplane through that place, man. It was set up. But the funny part, Emma this was like, this was before this. This was like daycare. And this was at the church daycare. And we'd come rolling in. I'd be in the F-350. We'd come rolling in playing Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil. And Emma's singing along, and the church, where we're dropping we didn't fit into that with that crowd. That was I was like, man, this little kid walking in screaming, shouting at the devil. We're going to church to me to the daycare place. We didn't really fit in there too well.
My kids went to school in different cars all the time because I was repoing. So I'd take the repo cars. It was always in a different car.
Witness protection for sure.
Yeah, my neighbor, me and him became pretty good friends, and it was probably 3 years after I lived there, maybe longer, 4 years. He goes, man, I want to tell you something. Don't get mad at me. I was like, what? He goes, when you first moved here, we thought you were a drug dealer or a car thief. I had the repo lot in the front of my property, so I had 40 cars out at all times. And a truck would be coming to pick them up. They was like, man, we thought you were a gangster over there.
That's funny.
Yeah.
No, I can verify that my son was never really thrilled when I'd pick him up in the bobtail tractor. I'd come around and pick that up. He's like, where's your pickup truck? And I was like, I'm not going 15 miles out of my way to get my pickup when your school's right here where I can just grab you in the truck and then we'll go get in the pickup afterwards. But no, I hate when you bring that thing here. And I went, do you want to walk? So I ain't looking to push them hush puppies.
They don't understand until they get to be parents. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, I picked up my son before I was doing landscaping, and the whole back of the truck it's full of crap, leaves and branches. I'm like, come on, get in. It looked like a freaking huge mess. It's like, Dad, couldn't you dump it? I'm like, no, same thing. You're on the way home. I'm not going home, coming back.
Yeah.
Speaking of landscapers, so when not my oldest son, but my other son, he wanted to go for the football program. He wanted to go to a different school than his siblings, and it was one of the richer schools. Now, the school that the siblings went to was a pretty well-to-do school too, but this was like the top of the top. And in the afternoons after football practice, I would go pick him up in my S10 Blazer, and with my goatee and everything. He tells me one day, he goes, Dad, all the kids are asking, who's the Mexican guy that picks you up? Because if you guys remember, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I showed you pictures of my middle child. While my daughter and my son are blonde. And they go, who's the Mexican guy that picks you up? And he's like, what Mexican guy? There's this one Mexican, like real Mexican guy that picks you up. And he's like, in the white truck, the Blazer. And they're like, yeah, that's him. Who is that guy? He's like, that's my dad. and my son's name is Diego. And they're like, your dad's Mexican? And he goes, my name's Diego. And anyways, I told him, I said, just tell him I'm the gardener. I said, just tell him your mom sends the gardener up. I said, and better yet, you really want to mess with him. My wife got so pissed at me for this. I said, what you tell him is that the guy that picks me up is the gardener, and you don't understand it. Your mom just raves about this gardener, but nothing seems to ever be cut or cleaned up around the house. Of course, my wife got really, really angry, and I said, What's funny is if he did do it, is all the kids that would say, "Hey, my mom's got a pool guy like that," or you know, whatever.
Pool's always dirty. I don't get it.
Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
we fixed the Prius. Remember the Prius story from last week?
Yeah.
Oh,
What was it?
Oh my gosh, pain in the neck. It was on the trailer. I took it all the way into Tampa to the Prius guy. There's a Tampa Hybrids, and he has like 20 Priuses there. So he does mostly just Priuses, but also other hybrids. And he's like, "Oh, we should be able to get it off the trailer." He gets in. He's like, "There's no power." I go, "Yeah, I know."
Ta-da.
Like, that's why it's here. Like, we can't get it. So they're messing around. One guy opens the hood. He's looking at the fuses. He checks that one fuse that I already replaced, and he goes, "All right, well, this one's good." So he starts going down and testing all the fuses. And then one fuse he pressed down, and he heard like relays click on and everything.
Ah,
And he goes, "Try it now." I'm like, "Yeah, it worked."
jeez.
Oh,
Like, an hour drive there, hour drive back. I'm like, "All right, what do I do?" He goes, "Don't worry about it." He goes, "Well, I didn't do anything. All I do is push down a fuse." I'm like, "Man, I checked all the fuses," but he must have just a little bit extra pressure.
So it worked itself loose, like
I
popping
guess.
itself out. That's
Yeah, there was
weird.
but my son just drove it home. Then he went out and he goes, "Dad, the car did it again." I'm like, "What?" I go under the hood, just push down. He didn't know what fuse he hit. He goes, "There's one of these ones on the lower left bank. I don't know what it was for. You know, it said ECU or something. One of those down there." I'm like, "I have no idea." So I go, "Just press them all down. Make sure they're all seated." And he goes, "All right." He goes, "It started." I go, "All right." So when he got home, I just started pulling every fuse. Like, "All right, let me pull every fuse and just look at them." I'm like, "All right, looks good, looks good, looks good." There was one that looked like, because you can see the little loop, right? It had like a little, like the plastic might have been melted or something in the middle. I don't know if that was it. Tossed that one, put a new one in. There was some that I just pulled and it like came right out. So it must have, I'm thinking maybe heat cycles or got worn. Put a new one in there. So I replaced a bunch of them. And so
It's
far,
funny
so
that
good.
you say that. On my old tool truck, it was the same thing. One day I walked out. I was in the shop. I usually leave it running, but I turned it off and went in the shop, did my business, come out, truck wouldn't start. And nothing. It was dead, And I was like, panicking because I was like, fuck, And I messed around, looking at everything, and got into the fuse box, and I started checking, and same thing. Pushed in a fuse, and the truck started up.
Yeah.
And so I didn't think nothing of it. It's running, just leave it running. So it was a couple months had gone by. Truck wouldn't start. So, and this was at the house. I was like getting ready to leave, in the morning. Nothing. And of course, I'm like getting all fired up. And then I said, "Oh, yeah. Let me check that fuse." Sure enough. So what I had to do was I took for whatever reason, I took the fuse and I tweaked it. Slid it in, never had the problem again because I guess it made a better connection or whatever.
Yeah.
But on the second story on that, the Hyundai that we had bought for Emma, my daughter, she would drive the car, and by the time she got up to Columbia, that's like 35-minute drive or whatever to work. She said the car would sometimes cut out. And she'd be like, "I'm at the park," I'd park the car and the car would cut out. Or she'd go someplace and the car wouldn't start, but she'd come back and the car would start. And so one day I get the phone call because the wife and her are out, and there was an accident and they were detoured through the neighborhood. And of course, the car cut out. So they coasted off to the side. And she said the car won't start. I have a guy, my wife told me, I got a guy trying to jump start it. The car won't start. I don't know. I said, all right, well, I'll head out that way. So of course I get there. The car starts.
You fixed it.
And I was like, man,
He
this
was
doesn't make sense.
terrified.
And I was like, well, I started looking. Well, it had a main fuse on the battery cable, and the solder somebody put solder on it. It was a blown fuse, and they laid solder in there. So when it heated up, the solder would separate, car would cut out, and then when it cooled down, the solder would
connect
stick back
again.
together.
This is
But
a
it had
cycle.
done so many. The only reason why I noticed it was because the color. And so I ended up taking it was a back probe kit because I was in the tool truck. Took a back probe kit, snipped the end of the metal, so it was like taking a part of a paper clip, and I laid it in the solder, just kind of and then I ended up ordering a new fuse. We ended up getting a new fuse for it.
All right,
One of my mechanics told me that if you have problems with sometimes with fuses and that, pull them out because they get corrosion on them.
Oh, yep.
And the act of pulling them out and shoving them back in, they'll work.
All right, so I have a fuse story too. Last Sunday, I go to the station, and the girl Kim, who does the show after me, she says, "Oh, can you take a look at my car? I got a problem." I'm like, well, what's the matter? So it's funny because I've been on her back about setting her parking brake, and she always forget. One week, this is just a side story. I walked into the studio, and she saw me. She's like, "Oh shit!" And she ran in the office, grabbed the keys, and ran past me and ran out to set her parking brake. And came back in. I said, "That's all right. You'll remember, Kim." I said, "It'll take a little while, but you'll remember, and then you'll think of me whenever you do it." So now she has been setting the brake. But she said she had an issue. She has it's a 2019 Subaru Crosstrek, and she had gotten an email telling her she was due for a service update. I said, "Okay." She goes, "Well, they had me do the update. They had me download it." And what? I said, "They had you do your own update?" And apparently, since the car is now hooked up to the internet, you just go in and there's a tab where you can tell it update, and it did. But she said there was some sort of an issue, a little bit of a problem, and then now, after the fact, everything works, but her radio screen is blank. It's black. I'm like, "Oh shit!" I said, "Well, something's obviously wrong." She goes, "Yeah," and I looked into it. I read some stuff online, and they said that if you there was a fuse you could pull and reset, and then there was something with the radio with the buttons and whatever. I said, whoa. I said, "You got to know what you need to do in what order you need to do it." I said, "I'm not Kreskin. I can't. I don't know." So she said, "Well," I said, "Do you know what fuse it was?" She goes, "No, they didn't say. Maybe it might have been the radio fuse." I said, "All right, let's go take a look." So the fuse panel in the car is on the left side. And of course, the dash kind of is on an angle down. So you got to look up. You got to kneel on the ground and look up. And the fuse panel, the way it's set up, if it was the top right fuse, and those were the mini fuses, I couldn't even get my damn hand in there. I said, "Well, there's got to be a tool. There's a fuse pulling tool for this." And there was nothing in the car. So I said, "Wait a minute." I went under the hood. And in the fuse box under the hood, they supplied the tool. I said, "Okay, so we got the tweezers now." So between the two of us, she's got tiny hands. We were able to get it on the fuse, pull it out, look at it. The fuse was good. I said, "Now, I don't know. They want you to activate the car, do other things. I don't know what they want you to do." I said, "Look, we'll pull a fuse and, cycle it and put it back in, see what happens." Of course, that didn't fix it. So I said, "You got to get some more information." So I started looking online myself and found all sorts of references to black radio screens and all sorts of different things, but I didn't see anything about that happening after an update. So remains yet to be solved.
Hey guys, I'm going to jump ship, but before I jump ship, I talked to Cammie Edelbrock a couple days ago, and she has, I think, four or five of her dad's cars left out of the 250, 300 that he had.
Wow.
That they're going to sell at an auction. So she's going to come on the show maybe next week if she can schedule us in.
And you're going to buy 3 of them, right?
Oh man,
Which one you gonna buy?
The Corvette. I think it's what is this? 60. What's the split one?
63.
63.
Yeah.
63.
Oh man, he had some stuff, man. He had over 200 cars.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
So hopefully we can get her on next week if she's free.
Oh, cool.
Talk about his cars and talk about the old school Edelbrock, the real deal Edelbrock stuff.
Yeah, because she took over, so she knows the deal.
Yeah, she knows the history of it. Yep. All right, guys, have a good week and stay safe. And I'll let you know where I'm at next week.
Okay, you closing us out?
Oh yeah, everybody in the chat. Yeah, everybody in the chat room. Wait a minute, hold on. I gotta do my thing right here. Okay, everybody in the chat room, I'd like to thank you for coming and hanging out with us at Playing in Traffic. We do this every Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern time. So tell everybody, come hang out with us. We answer questions, we tell lies, we do it all. Come check us out. All right, peace.